afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are you this afternoon? Good? Not tired, right? We've got a beautiful garden campus. I'm sure you've been walking around and letting your feet do the talking, yeah? Well, we are very happy and privileged to see all of you here with a keen interest in the Renaissance Engineering Program, or so I presume. Yeah, otherwise, nobody would want to waste an hour of their precious time. So it's a privilege to be talking to you this afternoon. My name is Lalit. I'm the director of the Renaissance Engineering Program and also a professor of the School of Electrical and Electronic Engineering. I have been at NTU for, you want to make a guess? 20, 30? Why did you guess 30? When people ask that question means that they're older, is it? Huh? Senior. Oh, I see. Better word. Close. That's close. 32, yeah. So none of these kids were born then. The parents were, yeah. And I have seen the rise, if you will, of NTU from a simple teaching university to what we now call a research-intensive university. And it has been a phenomenal journey, to say the least. For the first 15 years, I enjoyed teaching and doing research at NTU. And then since 2005, they found that maybe this guy should be given some leadership position. So last 19 years, I've been doing all this dirty work of director. But it's still quite fulfilling and enjoyable, particularly when you are in a program such as REP. So since the Renaissance Engineering Program is such a mouthful, I'm going to abbreviate it as REP, which is what we have been using for this program. And I think many of you are familiar with that acronym. What did I say to turn you off? They probably realize that they're in the wrong place. I can only think that way, right? Positively. All right, without further ado, I want to take you through a series of questions, and I will try to address those questions, and later, of course, take more questions from you. But hopefully by the time I finish, in about 40 to 45 minutes, you will have a pretty good idea about what this program entails. Still, questions are always welcome, and I was told that there is no more talk in this LT at 4 o'clock, so we have all the time. Yeah? So, what do you need to know about REP? That's the first thing that comes to mind. Gentlemen, please take a seat. For those who are standing at the back and come forward, there's a lot of seats here. Okay, so what do you need to know about the REP? Obvious thing is you need to know about the vision and the mission. And the vision of the program is to nurture our students as future leaders of the industry. I think there are many programs that will promise you a similar vision. So that's not like, a completely new or very different or innovative vision. But it fits the profile of the program very well, as you will probably realize over the next half an hour or so. The mission is multifold. As you can see, we want to provide you with a broad-based education, which is a marriage of engineering, humanities, social sciences, business, and technology management. So it's very, very broad. A lot of parents and kids have been asking me these questions since morning at the open house or during the campus tour at the REP facility as to what differentiates you from a single degree, mainstream 4-year degree program. Well, the main thing is that it is more holistic, it is more broad. You are not just specializing in one engineering area, you're also getting an idea of all the other engineering areas as well as business, social sciences, and the sciences in general. That's why the degree that you get is the Bachelor of Engineering Science, not the Bachelor of Engineering. That's the first thing that you must realize. It's more holistic, more broad. And then the next question that follows from that is, will I be able to get a job? The answer is yes. You can ask our alumni. Of course, they are not here today, but most of the students who are in our final year, they already have some job offers, right? So it always works in your favor if you are more broad in this day and age. Specializations are not really working in your favor when you go and look for jobs, unless that specific company wants to be in that area only, and they're not looking for other soft skills in addition to the technical skills. So that's our mission, and then we also have some program educational objectives, which I'll come to in a short while. But NTU has these 3 C's embedded in its NTU 2025 5-year plan. This is not just for my program, but it is for all the programs at NTU. We want to nurture students with 3 C's, that is character, competence, and cognitive agility. The program has 3 educational objectives. The first one being, we want the graduates to implement innovative solutions which integrate engineering solutions with entrepreneurial and business mindsets. Yeah, that's why the program provides you that opportunity. It's a marriage of engineering and business and humanities and science, as I said before, plus management of technology. The second program educational objective is that we want you to lead multidisciplinary teams when you graduate and go out into the working world. And we want you to draw on your excellent communication skills and look at the global perspective. That's why in our program, we will send the students overseas for 1 full year. No other program at NTU will send students overseas for 1 full year. Usually, you are sent overseas for 1 semester only. Yeah? So this is another unique feature of the REP. And we have very prestigious partner universities, as I shall enlighten you with in a short while. Right? So the third and perhaps the most important objective is we want you to make an active and constructive contribution to the society and together with ethics and morality. We don't want you to be involved in any unethical work. Yeah? Ethics is a very important part of all the ethos at NTU. Yeah? And of course, you have to act with a sense of professional responsibility. As you all know, engineering is a professional degree, and engineering science is no different. It's still a professional degree. So what are the unique features of REP which sort of set them apart from the other engineering programs? That's obviously a burning question in your minds. So you see in this picture, which, as I claim always, that a picture is worth 1,000 words. There's no one picture there. There's actually 8 pictures. But I'm treating it as one picture, yeah? A bigger picture. So what do you see in the picture? Let's start from this side. Professional attachment. What is professional attachment? Students call it internship. Almost everybody calls it internship. In your degree scroll, you will see the words professional attachment, yeah? Which is nothing but internship. So it is compulsory for 10 to 12 weeks, and most of our students do their internship overseas during their year 3, when they go to study overseas for 9 months, and then for about 3 months, 2.5 to 3 months, they will do a professional attachment or internship, typically. Otherwise, they will do that in Singapore. But the overseas study is compulsory. The overseas internship is not compulsory. You can still do your internship locally. That's allowed. A few years ago, that was not allowed, so we have made some changes over the years. The next one, it's a Premier Scholars Program. There are 5 Premier Scholars Programs at NTU. If you have been around to the Nanyang Auditorium today, then you probably have come across all of them. In addition to REP, we have the CN Young Scholars Program, we have the University Scholars Program, we have the Teaching Scholars Program, and the latest kid on the block, the Turing AI Scholars Program, right? So that's the one which has been launched this year. So we are a Premier Scholars Program. There's plenty for you to do in terms of residential experience and student life. We guarantee you accommodation on campus for the entire duration of your degree program. No other program in engineering will make you that promise. Obviously, year 3, you are not here. You are overseas. So you are not staying in our halls in year 3. But the remaining 3.5 years, we are guaranteeing you a hall accommodation. Yeah? And the first year, it is mandatory for you to stay in the hall. Why? Because how many of you went to the REP tour earlier today? So you have seen our facility for those who have been on one of those 2 tours. All the students in the first year in REP will live in one of the 3 halls around that facility. That area is called North Hill. So it is very beneficial because it is a form of residential education. You're living right next door to your classrooms and your project rooms and your discussion rooms and things like that. So that's why we make it mandatory for you to live on campus in the first year in one of the 3 halls at North Hill. From second year onwards, you can choose to stay in the other halls, or you can choose to stay with PM, Papa Mama, yeah? So it is your choice. Then, so you have a good life. In addition to studying, you can also participate in many activities. Later on, I'll show you what our Renaissance Engineering Club is arranging for all our students. And it's a lot of activities. We believe in playing hard, not just in studying hard. So you have plenty of options. Then you are taught by the top faculty in REP. You see this little guy here? I hope you can see. Yeah. For those who are sitting way at the back, you are disadvantaged for sure. Yeah, you're not able to see that lovely guy there. Well, it's me, and I'm one of the fellows. We hire all the top teachers from the various schools at NTU to teach REP courses in the first year and some of them in the second year. That's a promise that we make to REP students. That's a promise that the university makes to me, and therefore I'm able to promise you, right? It has to come from the very top, because the top teachers are in demand everywhere. Yeah, why would a top teacher want to teach in my course? The only thing that keeps him coming to me is he's teaching the best students in Singapore, not just at NTU, not just in REP. So we are able to attract them. Then there is a leadership and entrepreneurship development structured program. In second year, you have a 1 credit course in leadership development. In the 4th year, you have a 3 credit course in advanced leadership for engineers. Yeah? And of course, when you are in year 3, you are learning leadership traits. Why? Because you're interacting with those professors, with those students, they are local students in the US or Canada or the UK, because that's where our partner universities are. And those are, top countries. It's a Western world, yeah, so-called top universities in the world, and you have access to one of those in your 3rd year. So leadership is also something we are very proud of. Team-based learning pedagogy, we call it TBL, team-based learning. This is a pedagogy we have adopted from the Lee Kong Chian School of Medicine, which was the first to implement it when they started SHOP in 2013. And we started to use the TBL pedagogy from 2016 onwards. And it is continuing, and I'm trying to introduce it for more and more courses that are our own courses. Once you start doing your specialization courses, then of course you go to either the School of Electrical or the School of Mechanical or the School of Civil or the School of Materials or whatever. And therefore I have no control whether their courses are in TBL or in a normal flipped classroom pedagogy. But many courses in NTU over the last few years have been converted to flipped classroom pedagogy, which is not too different from team-based learning, although I think team-based learning is better. So you will also see that pedagogy, especially in the first year. And the curriculum is broad-based and interdisciplinary. You will see later that the university has also introduced a lot of interdisciplinarity for every student at NTU, not just for REP students. So I'll just show you a little bit later. And I already spoke about the 1-year overseas study. So the other good thing about NTU is you get 2 degrees for the price of 1. What can be better? In 4.5 years. Normally, you get 2 degrees in 5 years, normally. Of course, there are some programs where you can even get in 4 years, but I'm not quite sure, whether they are as valuable. I think 4.5 is a very good way of trying to mix the bachelor's and the master's and have some overlap in the 4th year so that you can still do it and justify doing it without having the additional pressure. So from my perspective, it works very, very well. 2 degrees in 4.5 years. What are those degrees called? The first degree is called Bachelor of Engineering Science. Yeah, not Bachelor of Engineering as I mentioned before. It's more holistic. But you can specialize in 1 of 10 engineering fields. And your degree certificate will show that. So it'll say Bachelor of Engineering Science, bracket, Computer Science, or bracket, Electrical and Electronic Engineering, bracket, Materials Engineering, whatever. Okay? So you have nothing to lose. You are getting not a general degree, you are getting a degree in a specialization. And the second degree is a Master of Science in Technology Management. Now, for the first degree, you also need to know that we are already accredited by the Institution of Engineers Singapore under their EAB, Engineering Accreditation Board. What does this mean for you? What does it mean for REP students and graduates? It means that they can work in any country where the Washington Accord universities have signed the Washington Accord. And that's a lot of countries. Therefore, you don't have to worry whether your degree is recognized overseas or not recognized overseas. Okay? So these are the 10 engineering specializations. You can choose one of them, and we ask you to choose the specialization at the end of the first year. This is another advantage of the REP. When I see a lot of students during the interviews, the girls are around 19, boys are also 19 at the interviews, but by the time they join, they are about 21. But sometimes 19-year-olds don't exactly know what branch of engineering they want to study. So we give them an opportunity to go through our first year foundation modules in all branches of engineering and then decide which specialization they want to choose at the end of the first year. So that's a very big, huge advantage, particularly for those of you who are undecided as to which specialization you want to choose. Okay? So the next question is, what is the REP curriculum like? That's also something that you must be very, very involved with, because you want to know how another university curriculum compares with ours and things like that, right? So here goes. The 4.5-year REP journey can be summarized in this particular slide. In the first year, you will go through broad interdisciplinary foundation courses, some of which I already mentioned. There are 6 courses in engineering foundation. So all those 10 engineering specializations that I showed you in the last slide, they will be covered in those 6 courses. Each one of them is a 3-credit course. You will also be taking some courses in business. So for example, you will take a course, Fundamentals of Management, and you will take a course in accounting in the first 2 years. Yeah? And then there are other courses which we'll talk about, Interdisciplinary Collaborative Core, or ICC. There's a lot of acronyms in Singapore. We are no exception. Yeah? ICC is another acronym that we are going to be throwing at you. So when you reach your end of year 1, you will choose your specialization. And we will also ask you to indicate your choice of overseas partner university for year 3. Now that's almost 1.5 years down the road, isn't it? Year 1, semester 2, we are asking you to tell us which university would you like to go to. Because we want to make some preliminary prediction about the numbers. And then I can go to the deputy president and ask for a certain budget based on those numbers. So that helps me in terms of asking for a budget. For those of you who are not aware, budget preparations are done well in advance. So if I want to look at financial year 2025, I have to propose a budget at least 9 months in advance, this July, for next April onwards, right? So that's why this helps us in getting that preliminary information. Second year, you will start your engineering specialization courses, and you will do interdisciplinary engineering projects. One example is the design course. We have the RE Design, Renaissance Engineering Design. First semester, second year, it's a 4-credit course. Second semester, second year, it's a 3-credit course. So it runs over 2 semesters. At the end of it, you will have to come up with some kind of a prototype. And you work in a team of 4 to 5 students. You don't work alone, under the supervision of a design professor. So there's plenty of opportunities. Somebody was asking me if there are research opportunities. Design project is as close as it gets to research opportunity as early as the second year. Usually you should be doing research in advanced years like 3rd year and 4th year. Not so early as second year, but that's an opportunity. The university also has a program called Eureca, URECA, Undergraduate Research Experience on Campus. So students can also undertake that, whereby you work on a 9-month-long project with a professor of your choice. And he may even pay you, yeah? Yeah, but that's different. That's not my prerogative. He may or may not, yeah? Year 3, you go overseas, but at the end of year 2, semester 1. So at the end of semester 1, year 2, We will now ask you again your choice of the partner universities. Remember, we asked you in year 1, but now we want a bigger, better view, confirmed view. Hey, I want to go to this university. But I don't ask you for only one option. I ask you to rank 3 universities at least. Why? Because I may not be able to give you your first choice university. When you see the names of the universities there, some of you already know, there's 2 universities that are more popular than the other 3. It's a no-brainer, and therefore I cannot send everybody to those 2 universities. That's why sometimes it's not possible, and we may have to resort to other ways to distribute the students among the 5 partner universities. But in the end, it all works out well. From my perspective, if you are getting an opportunity to go overseas for 1 year in any top university in the world, that's a blessing. So why crib about, I want to go here, not here? But that happens. I mean, young minds, they work differently. Yeah. So that's what you do in year 3. And also your internship you will have to do in year 3. So you go overseas from August to April, 2 semesters. And then May, June, July, you will do your internship for 10 to 12 weeks, either overseas in the US, if you are going to UC Berkeley, in the US, if you are going to one of the 3 Canadian universities, in the UK, if you are going to Imperial College London, and in Singapore, if you are unable to find internship in any of those countries. Okay? So when you go overseas and you want to do internship overseas, you have to self-source. You have to find the internship company yourself. Whereas for Singapore, we have a career and attachment office that will help you to find an internship company. And that's a credit-bearing internship in year 3. It has 5 credit units. So when you go overseas, you will take courses which are worth 27 credits. And the internship is worth 5 credits. So in year 3, you will transfer 32 credits back to NTU. What's the total credits in your undergraduate degree? It's always good like one person speaking rather than several, right? Because some others around do get disturbed. So where was I then? The overseas university. What was I saying? I lost my train of thoughts. Oh, credit, yeah. So the Bachelor of Engineering Science degree has 136 credits, yeah? And you must complete them by the end of the 4th year. So out of the 136, 27 plus 5 are done in year 3. Year 1 is around 41. Year 2 is around 41. The year 1s and year 2s are the heaviest in terms of the overload. Year 3, not bad at all. That's why when students go overseas, in addition to studying, they travel. Actually, I'm told that they travel more than they study, but yeah, I'm going to have to turn a blind eye to that, right? Yeah. So that's what will happen in year 3. Then you come back to Singapore, either to do your internship and then start your 4th year, or you do your internship overseas and then come back to Singapore at the beginning of August to start your year 4, right after the National Day. Usually, we start our semester 1. And then what will you study in year 4? You will complete your courses in the engineering specialization, and you will also start your courses in Master of Science in Technology Management. So that's where the overlap occurs. It is an integrated program. So year 4 is when you do undergrad as well as postgrad courses. Year 4 Sem 1, you do only 1 Master of Science course. Year 4 Sem 2, you will do 3 courses. And year 5 Sem 1, that's the last semester for our students. They will do the remaining 5 courses in MSc Technology Management. The total credit requirement for the MSc is 30, which is equivalent to 10 courses, but we have 9 because one course is 6 credits. Yeah? And that's the one where you get to touch base with venture capitalists and startup founders and so on. So it's a very exciting course, yeah, in the technology management area. And of course, in year 4 for the undergraduate, we have the capstone project, RCP, Renaissance Capstone Project. Every student has to work on a project, year-long project in year 4 as part of the undergraduate degree requirement. Yeah? In the past, we used to allow students to do single projects, meaning one student will work with one supervisor, and that is called final year project, FYP. But starting now, we are going to get students to work in teams of 3 to 6 in a project sponsored by our corporate labs or research centers at NTU on an industry problem that they will work on. And those 3 to 6 students must be from 3 to 6 different specializations. One from electrical, one from mechanical, one from computer science, one from bioengineering, things like that. So we want it to be totally multidisciplinary. Because when you go out in the working world, you will work in teams. You will not be working alone. And you better get used to that idea, yeah? So it's something that is very exciting for us. Now, the university has taken some initiatives on interdisciplinarity, as I alluded to before. What are those initiatives? They have introduced something called as Interdisciplinary Collaborative Core, ICC curriculum, since the year 2021. So this is the 3rd year that we are already running the courses under ICC for our students. This is meant for all university students, regardless of their major. So what happens in this ICC course? Some REP students, some business students, some social sciences students, some chemistry students, some physics students, etc. will be put together in a class of 25 students, and then they will take that course. Yeah, there are 7 courses under this umbrella. 3 that we consider are to tackle the global challenges faced by humanity, and 4 are to handle the transferable skills. Yeah, so this is done for every student. We try for you to not be in your comfort zone and always be with REP students all the time. We want you to also make friends with students from other disciplines. Rub your ideas off each other, pick each other's brains, and so on and so forth. So that's the idea of this ICC. It's working very well, at least based on the feedback from the students and faculty over the last 2 years. We also offer a second major in entrepreneurship to the REP students, and we started offering this only 2 years ago. Last year, one student showed interest in going for this second major in entrepreneurship, but very soon he realized that that may be too much work. So he decided not to. Yeah. Obviously, it's going to be more work. Remember I told you 136 AU, and then also the Master of Science starts in year 4. It's a lot of hard work. Do you want to have a life or not? That's the question you have to ask yourself. If you also want to be involved in sports or playing some sport, or being good at singing, or in art, culture, community work, and so on and so forth, then you want some time for yourself. Yeah, time to spend with your friends and things like that. If you take a second major, that becomes harder. I'm not saying don't take it, but I'm just articulating, what students possibly think. So, but for those who are really interested in entrepreneurship, you want to have a startup, this is an excellent course to take. Yeah. So there will be an additional 35 credits to be completed under this second major, right? So you can understand how much work you have to undertake, right? Okay, the next question is, what can REP expect in year 3? What can REP students expect in year 3? Well, I've already talked about it a lot in the last half an hour, and that is, they go overseas to one of these 5 universities. They spend 9 months over there, and then they do an internship, and then they come back to Singapore. So what do you do while you are here? You will take courses, typically 9 courses, 27 credits if you recall. One course is typically 3 credits. So typically 9 courses over 2 semesters. That's not a lot. 5 plus 4 or 4 plus 5. A typical distribution at NTU is 6 to 7 courses per semester. Here you are taking only 4 or 5. So obviously you've got a lot of time to travel and do other things, right? And these are the top universities. So the 2 more popular ones are the top 2, UC Berkeley and Imperial College London. The Canadian universities, UBC is more popular, and I think you can guess the reason. Your guess is as good as mine. because Vancouver is warmer compared to Toronto and Waterloo. Yeah, so Singapore students don't like cold weather. Yeah. I don't know whether I should say it, but I studied in Canada for 5 years, and I studied at a university called the University of Saskatchewan. Anybody heard that name? It's known for a lot of things, but what it is really, really known for is minus 40 degrees during winter. I didn't say Celsius or Fahrenheit, did I? It's the same. And when the wind blows, it really blows. So with the wind chill, I have experienced temperatures of minus 55 degrees. Small wonder that my wife made us run away. And we went from minus 40 to almost plus 40 in Singapore 32 years ago. I mean, we get up to 36 here, right? Pretty close, correct? So I would say that going to a cold place is not that bad. University of Toronto is the top university in Canada. It's the #1 ranked university. University of Waterloo is so famous for computer science and electrical engineering, even better than some of the others on this list. So students sometimes need to do their work. They should look at subject rankings, but many students look at world rankings. And in the world rankings, Waterloo is not as well known, so that's why sometimes it suffers. But anyway, that's a story for another day. Let's move on. Next question. What will you learn in the MSc in Technology Management? Now, I know it's quite far away for you. For the girls, it's 3 years away. For the boys, it's 5 years away, right? So you may or may not be so keen. But I just want to give you a brief overview of the Master of Science in Technology Management. So we align the course with our vision of nurturing you as future leaders of the industry. And you also undertake real-world startup projects. I mentioned a course of 6 credits earlier on. That's where you work with venture capitalists and startup founders. And the other courses that you take in are classified under 3 broad categories: people and leadership, operations and analytics, and technology and innovation. Yeah? And of course, you can also choose an elective from anywhere in the university, that is, any of the 6 engineering schools, or the Nanyang Technopreneurship Academy, now it's called, or the Nanyang Business School. In fact, some students are able to even get an elective in the MBA program. Yeah, it's very hard, but if you try, you might be able to get that elective, right? What about student life? Do you have a life, or you are just in classroom all the time? Well, our student club is very active, and there are a lot of students waiting at the back, and I'll get them to come in the front. If you have any questions on student life, then I'm sure they can articulate them better. So this is our Renaissance Engineering Club, or the RE Club. We call it RE Club. We call everything RE, where RE stands for Renaissance Engineering. So you see what all activities they are involved in? Yeah, plenty. Makers Lab. For those of you who visited our facility earlier today, you have been to the Makers Lab. This is the place where the students tinker. They make and break and then make again. And in fact, some of these startups were born there at the Makers Lab, at the REP Makers Lab. There are actually a lot of Makers Labs in NTU, but we have our own at the REP facility in North Hill. Then we have an overseas learning arm called HEAL. What does HEAL stand for? Not the regular healing. It's Humanitarian Engineers and Leaders. HEAL. Nice acronym, right? So they go overseas. During COVID, of course, that came to a halt for obvious reasons. But otherwise, they go overseas to countries like Cambodia, Vietnam, Indonesia, and contribute to projects like vertical farming, solar lamps, and of course, they educate the underprivileged kids there, yeah, youngsters. Then we also have a local service arm. You don't have to go overseas to do community service. You can do it locally if that's what your forte is. Yeah. Then performing arts branch is there. You like to dance, you like to sing. We actually have 2 jam bands in REP. I'm extremely proud of them, and the singers there are fantastic. So whenever they perform, I make it a point to go and listen to them. It's so nice. Yeah. One of the singers is now overseas, unfortunately. The transition and orientation program, which the senior batch will do for the new cohort. So for all of you who are going to join the university this year in August, the second year REP students will actually go through the transition and orientation program with you. Just like last year, their seniors did it for them, right? Then there is a freshman orientation camp, repertoire, RE Play. It's a one-day sports event. One-day sports event. The whole day they'll have all these sporting events like football, tennis, badminton, competitions amongst the various cohorts of REP. And then at the night they will unwind and have some kind of a concert. Yeah. So it's fantastic. So lots of events. You can take part in one or two of them, not necessarily in all of them. The RE Club has a president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and several other committee members. And we encourage you to take part in the Renaissance Engineering Club activities. So just an example of the REP Makers Club, where we had a couple of startups. So you can see one startup by Palash Jain. He is from the 2017 cohort, so he graduated a year and a half ago. The other one is from 2018, so he graduated just last year, Philian Go. And from Melvin Fu, although he's from the 2018 cohort, but he took 2 years leave of absence to focus on his startup. So we encourage that. If you want to turn an entrepreneur, you have some ideas, you want to take a leave of absence and work on your startup, that's perfectly fine with us. But you have to take a leave of absence. And then we will tell you, how you should structure your courses. Because we don't want to end up in a situation where you have to clear 3 credits or 6 credits and you have already completed the minimum residency requirements, right, which is 6 years. So that's why I said 2 years maximum leave of absence, because the undergraduate part is 4 years, right, typically. And then there are other startups. So I just wanted to showcase those 3 which were born in our lab, in our Makers Lab. But there have been students from almost every cohort. The first cohort was 2011, Alex Chen. And then the third cohort is Edmund, and he's also listed in the Forbes 30 under 30. So we are extremely proud of his achievements. He also set up this company called Accredify. Then Wong Lei, who was the president of the RE Club a few years ago, and together with her friend, they founded Autodot in 2019. And there are so many others that you can see. Bauren is still studying with us. He's going to graduate this December. Yeah. And he has also set up this company, a medical company. So, you as an engineering student, the sky is the limit. Doesn't mean that you must set up something in engineering. You can see through these applications. Our students also love to take part in international competitions, particularly hackathons. Yeah. And wherever they go and take part, they either win the first prize or they end up getting the second prize or the third prize. They never come back beyond that. So we are very proud of some of these achievements. This list is not exhaustive, but I'm just showing you some of the achievements of our students. What about our graduates? Well, we have had 9 batches of graduates. 2011 was the first cohort that graduated in 2016. So 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 8 batches, 24 as well, because they graduated in December. They haven't convocated. The university convocation is only in July. So they have finished their classes, they've got the degrees, they're working outside, but their convocation will be in July, the latest batch. Yeah. So 469 graduates working in more than 170 companies. Where are they working? Mostly in Singapore, but some of them are working in other countries as well. Japan, US, and UK are shown over there, but I'm sure there are other countries as well. So I want to just showcase a few of our outstanding alumni. On the left, you see Nitya. She's working with Deutsche Bank, and she's the assistant vice president. She's from the first cohort. Then Kundu Srijit is from the second cohort. He's working with Visa in San Francisco. He's the director of their global. And Edmund, I already showcased him in my previous slide. He started up his company Accredify in he's from the 2013 batch, and he's also listed in the Forbes 30 under 30. Yeah, fantastic achievements. There are 2 new Scholars Awards that the university is offering, and REP students can also be offered those awards. So I just want to share them with you. The first one on the left is called the NTU Scholars Award. So if you, I think there's maybe a little bit of a fine print for people at the back, but what it means is that you get a study award. It says between 3,000 and 12,000, but for REP it is 12,000. So don't read the other one. Yeah, you don't need to worry about the 3,000, because there are other scholarships which are lower in quantum, and they offer 3,000. But if you are on REP scholarship and you want to get this award, you will be given $12,000 study award. And also your travel allowance is 10,000. So if a student gets REP scholarship, I repeat, if a student gets REP scholarship, he is also eligible for this study award. This is an award. This is not a scholarship. However, the amount that you get from this award is higher than the scholarship amount. So actually we will allow you to choose. Now as you can see from here, it does not talk about the tuition. So the tuition fee will be covered by an NTU bursary. Therefore this is meant only for the needy students on merit. So it's needy plus meritorious, not just needy, okay? As long as you come from a needy family with a certain per capita income and you have done very well in your A levels or IB or poly diploma and so on, then you are eligible for this award. Monetary quantum is higher than that of REP scholarship, but it's an award. It's not a scholarship. Scholarship is generally considered more prestigious, especially if you want to apply for higher degrees and things like that. The second award is called the NTU Education Award. This will be offered to students with excellent academic credentials who do not end up getting the REP scholarship, but they get the offer of REP to study in REP, but they do not, for whatever reasons, get REP scholarship. Then they are eligible for this award as long as their academic credentials from IB, Poly, and A level are very, very good. Okay? It's a one-off award of $10,000 upon matriculation. Obviously, you can't take $10,000 and run away to my neighboring university, yeah, and start a course in Kentridge or wherever, right? We don't want you to do that. So, finally, the burning question: how do you apply? How do you get into the program? How do you get a scholarship, right? Those are the most important questions. The application process is very clear. I think by now you have been at NTU since morning perhaps. You have spoken to the folks at the admissions office and scholarships section and things like that. So you probably know a little bit about these things. So the application has already opened. Please remember that it closes on 19th March. This is the most important date. Once in a while, after the closing date, we receive emails from prospective students saying, sir, I missed the deadline for whatever reason, I was in camp or whatever. Please do not do that. I do not have the authority to change the deadline. It ends at 23:59 hours on 19th March, period. So please make sure that somebody applies on your behalf if you do not have the time to apply. That's something you must do. Now, once you apply for admission, you must apply for scholarship if you are keen on applying for scholarship. I know of students who want an external scholarship, for example, Public Service Commission scholarship, LTA scholarship, MINDEF scholarship, and so on. So if you are already looking at those scholarships, you don't want to apply for our scholarships, that's fine. It's your choice. In fact, maybe you want to apply for our scholarships so that in the event you get both scholarships, you can decide. That's another way of trying to do it, yeah? Kill two birds with one stone. But we leave that choice to you. You must apply for scholarship by the same deadline of 19th March if you are keen on getting a scholarship. If you believe in PM, Papa Mama, then I think the choice is yours, right? Yeah. Third thing is this one, the most critical one. We will shortlist some applicants based on their A-level scores, IB scores, or poly scores. I know everybody has been asking me what's the cutoff. I cannot tell you that. That's why you see that it is not publicized under the I don't know what it is called, but where all the courses have listed their cutoffs, right, from last year. We don't. Why? Because we have got a small cohort of 50 to 60 students. And any numbers that you put for 50 to 60 numbers, they statistically, it's not right to put those numbers, up for everybody to see, because they change quite drastically from year to year. That's why we don't put up those statistics for everybody, right? And this is what MOE also wants us to do. So we are all in sync in a way. So don't ask me about the cutoff, but all I can say is your score must be very high. How high is high? Don't ask me, okay? If you are a 90-pointer, if you are a 4.0 CGPA, if you are a 45-pointer IB, I can tell you right now you will be invited for the multi-mini interviews. If you apply and you put REP as your first choice, if you put it as your second, third, fourth, or fifth, I'm not interested in you. I don't see any passion in you at all, unless there is only one exception, that your first choice is medicine. Because medicine and REP are on par. So we let medicine treat you first, and then they will let us see you if they don't believe that they want you. Yeah, that's the way it'll work. So you will come to us for sure if the medical school is not interested in you, okay? So that's the only exception. Otherwise, please put REP as your first choice if you are keen, okay? Now, the multi-mini interviews, this is what I want to talk a little bit about. But before I do that, the outcome will be released in batches, because we are going to start our interviews, let's say from this Saturday. Today is 2nd, so 9th, 16th. We are going to start our interviews from most likely the 16th of March. Every Saturday we do the interviews. In fact, some weekdays we'll also do when the boys are allowed to go out, and MINDEF has provided us those dates. So those dates also we will schedule interviews for the boys. Of course, girls are free to also come during those days, but typically on Saturdays only the boys can attend. That's why we do the interviews on Saturdays. So for almost 2 months we burn all our Saturdays for you, for REP, because for the greater good, in other words. So what is MMI? Let's look at that. What is the multiple mini interview format? We will shortlist, as I said, based on your grades. Once you are shortlisted, you come to our facility in North Hill, and you have to go through 6 stations. I repeat, you have to go through 6 stations. The first 4 stations, we will test you on your soft skills such as creative thinking, character, leadership, ethics and morality, things like that. First 4 stations. Each station is 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Then you come to station 5, where you are interviewed by yours truly, and then station 6. Station 6 is a team-based exercise. So we will put 4 or 5 of you in a team, and we will give you a small project to work on for about 25 to 30 minutes. And our senior students and alumni will observe you, they will grade you, and they will send us the grades. So the scores from the 6 stations will then be compiled, and you will be then ranked accordingly. And if you are in the top few, you will be offered the program together with scholarship, assuming you have applied for scholarship. If you are somewhere in the middle, you may be offered the program without scholarship. And if you are in the 3rd tier, I don't need to say it, let's leave it unsaid. So I think now the tours are over, but for those of you who have time and who are familiar with the campus, feel free to go with some of our students and visit the North Hill facility of REP. It's something that will tell you where our residential education takes place. Or the booth, I think, is open until 5. Is it 5 o'clock? Yeah. So the booth is still open. Please feel free to go there. Thank you very much for lending me your ears. Thanks a lot.